Breaking cycles, otherwise known as what to do after you've been ejected from a cyclone. Forward. Trigger warning for self-harm, name-calling, emotional abuse, fat phobia, alcoholism, cutting, rejection, sexual assault, abandonment, suicidal thoughts, aborted suicide attempts, toxic relationships, divorce, drugs. I'd like to dedicate this speech to everyone I've known who has completed suicide. The uncle who complimented my first attempts at making scrambled eggs, even though they had way too much pepper. The little girl who remembered my name 6 months after I first met her, who was so excited to see me again, who loved harder than anyone I've ever met. The friend who lost his dream job and never made it out of the hole it left in his heart. The schoolmate I never really talked much to. If there's someone you knew who's gone now, let's take a moment of silence together. If that was almost you, take a moment of silence for yourself. Thank you. Before we begin, I want you to know that I started and was writing this around the same time I went through a severe depressive episode in October and November of 2024. I want you to know that I utilized many of the tools you read about online that I'll mention in this speech or that perhaps your parents or therapists have suggested you use. I am not in any way, shape, or form claiming to be fully recovered from my mental illnesses. For me, and for most people, recovery is continuous. It is ongoing. My story includes a lot of big feelings, a lot of trauma, and a lot of pain. But it also has a lot of love and a lot of hope. I stand before you and give you these parts of my story, the good and the bad, because neither one could exist without the other. I am who I am today due to these experiences. This mixed bag of living is what living is all about. You pull a situation out of a hat and you improvise how to handle it. Life is like one big play, continuously being developed in real time. And that's it. That's the concept for what I wrote for you today. My life in its entirety as a theatrical production. Not a complete work of art, though. No. More as if a play was so haphazardly written that everything was out of order and had no beginning, middle, or end. If everything was mashed together in a way that made no sense until you got further in and saw how everything connects. Maybe the world is turtles all the way down, and perhaps those turtles are the trauma we and our ancestors were born to endure. I thank those turtles now and before I would curse them. Being depressed taught me more about the human condition than any teacher ever did. Being angry taught me more about myself than my parents ever did. Hating myself taught me how to love more fully than any book ever did. My point is, I won't tell you that everything happens for a reason, because that's cliche and is so often used to minimize pain. Instead, I'll tell you that you are the reason that anything happens. With your eyes like headlights open, you can see the snowflakes drifting down to settle in a blanket. With your hands that you reach out to grasp another's, to transfer some warmth, to offer some comfort. With your life that is yours, like the sky is yours, and the earth is yours, and the sun is yours. And today, in this moment, my life is yours. I wrote it down. I'm here. I'm here to perform. Enter. Stage left. I am the narrator, the actor, the producer, the lights, the sound in this play on my life that doesn't feel like my life at all. So far removed, I am the audience. I am the child in aisle 5 who can't sit still. I am the grandparent yawning with their hand on their mouth. I am the homeless man in the back who's here to keep warm, buys a ticket to the cheapest show, eats the dollar popcorn for dinner. I'm the parent shushing their baby. Shh. Lights out. Curtain up. The drama is about to unfold. Once upon a time, there was a family, but it wasn't really a family. Then there wasn't a family at all. A child is asleep on their couch, dreaming of sharks circling closer and closer, trapping them in a web of water. They're helpless. A shark opens its jaws, teeth shimmering, snap. They wake up. Their parents are fighting again over in the kitchen 2 rooms away. Yelling resounds, bounces off the living room walls. They cover their ears, not knowing which was worse. Reality or the dream? A preteen takes a picture of their parents. Click. Their mom hugging their father from behind as he cuts into a holiday ham. It's the only picture they ever take of them hugging. It's burned into their retinas, an image of what things were like before. If there ever was a before. A teenager blames their mom for the divorce. So does their dad. Drunkenly, he calls her names and claims she never tried to work on things. Drunkenly, he cries and cries and cries until his tears burn hot, becoming anger so full of fire it is uncontrollable. He yells so much you forget how his voice sounds when it's quiet. He yells so loud you still hear it 15 years later. He yells so directly at you that you shatter. Glass litters the ground. Your window pane lets in a draft. Do you remember? You're curled up, a blanket drawn over your head, hidden, hiding, silently crying. How old were you then? You wouldn't know, couldn't know. All you know is your sister's warmth. Come here, little one. I'll hold you. Let our tears become an ocean. Let us rock each other to sleep. How did that chair get broken? Where are all these holes in the wall coming from? Why are you leaving with us, Mom? Where are we going? Where is brother? Where is Dad? Shh, honey, shh. He's been drinking again. A teenager holds a knife to their throat in the kitchen of their childhood home, standing off against half of their DNA. If you don't stop, I'll do it. I'll kill myself right here in front of you. I will. You wouldn't. You're too weak. And in that moment, they are so small that the knife slips from their fingers, clatters against the linoleum. They flee. You're too weak. They're too weak. I'm too weak. Months of trying to exercise the pain away, starve the pain away, hasn't worked. You go back to cutting, rusty razors torn apart with scissors, the blades bent and twisted. It hurts more to cut over the same scars, so you do. Layers upon layers. The blood stains your clothes, your sheets. You. A teenager graduates high school. In their senior year scrapbook, they cut apart 2 pictures, glue them together as one. Their mom hugged to one side, their dad on the other, with his hand on their shoulder. It's supposed to be safe when your friends are over. He's supposed to care about not revealing his true self to others. This time having your friend there doesn't save you. He yells and you hide in your room with your friend. It's okay, they say. I'm actually used to this. You never talk about it again, that night or the rest of them, but you and your friend have a newfound commonality, a new depth, 2 lakes that now connect. A father-made canal, causing them to intersect. A young adult wakes up hungover the 3rd day in a row, grabs their scattered clothes off of some man's floor. They can't remember how they got here or what came after. It'll take years before they realize what this means. Me too, they'll think. Me too. A teenager fights with their mother. He hates me, Mom. Can't you see? No, he just wants you to like him. You never even gave him a chance. She's engaged to another abusive man. You knew since the day you met him. It takes years before she is strong enough to leave him too, until she realizes she's fallen right into the same situation she just escaped. An alcoholic who talks down to her, controls her, claims to love her while hurting her. When she does finally leave him, he holds her belongings hostage, drives past her house multiple times a day, pretends to have cancer, hoping she'll pity him and come back. See, Mom? I was right about him. Stop. Don't rub it in. Once upon a time, there was a person who used to imagine a story about a child in an abusive home who stepped through a mirror into a world where everything was perfect. You keep yourself weak. You keep yourself soft. You don't let yourself build muscle. You make jokes about how your arms are limp spaghetti noodles, dangling at your sides until finally, as you work on healing your brain, your nervous system, you do allow yourself to become a little stronger. You allow yourself to feel your body move around you, fortify the walls that build you. You love it. It's nice knowing your body can hold you until when you relapse. You remember why you stayed weak for so long. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter turn sour each year. Your gift is a clearance blanket. Your tradition is to cook a meal. You, sometimes your sister, always your brother, your dad who opens beer after beer, pours drink after drink. You chew your nails, waiting for what you know is coming, yet holding out hope that somehow this year will be different. Maybe this year you won't make a mess of things. What will you do that will make him angry? What will be so unforgivable that even today needs to be ruined? It's always your fault. It always ends in disaster. A young adult who texts back their mom, ILY, and tells her it's the abbreviated form for I love you, leaving out that they are only using ILY as a shield to hide behind, because if they could choose, they wouldn't say I love you to their mom or their dad for that matter. They have to force themselves to say it. Sticky words constrict their throat. It comes out in a croak or as 3 uppercase letters in a blue text bubble. A teenager makes deviled eggs for a potluck. Everyone thanks their dad, thinking that since he brought them, since they're his specialty, that surely he must have made them. The teenager sulks in the shadows, whispering, no, thank me. I made them. He was too drunk. Stop crying. You're weak. You're useless. I don't want to hear it from the peanut gallery. You're garbage. I wish I never stayed. stare into the bathroom mirror, your hands full of pills. If you take these, it'll all be over. You won't have to go through this anymore. The clock ticks. You breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A knock at the door. Your little sister. Hey, are you in there? Are you okay? I'm fine. I'll be up soon. You don't die fully that day. Only a part of you. A young adult who every time they cry has to hold their own hands back, knuckles begging to connect with skin and bone. All of this energy, all of these feelings, they've nowhere to go to escape. The flashes of memory are pain. It's only pain. Crying is only pain. It's not safe. A child who loves to swim. In the water, they're weightless. Their weight matters less. Their mom doesn't comment on how they look in a swimsuit. Their stomach is free to exist. You play Farmville for a whole winter. Your dad harvests your faster growing crops for you while you're at school. Blackberries only take 30 minutes. There he is logging in again. Maybe if you play this silly little game with him, he'll be so busy, he'll forget about the vodka in the freezer. A teenager is told they are the children's favorite babysitter. The children tell them that they love them, that they never want them to leave. The teenager never wants to leave either. Each house is so warm, so much more like a real family than their own. Here, no one is yelling. Here, no one is hurting them with their words. Here, they feel seen in a way they have never felt before. They tell the families they work for, please, if you ever need someone but can't afford a babysitter, I'll come do it for free, acting like they're willing to do them a favor, hoping they'll take them up on the offer instead of saying, please. Don't stop calling me. Don't stop letting me inside your home. This is all I look forward to. You are one of the only reasons I'm still alive. I need you. At home, in the dark of their room, they write suicide notes, never following through. There are people who love them. Little ones who love you. At some point, you realize you've never taken a picture of yourself where you weren't mentally ill. The only light in your eyes, a blinding flash, an empty reflection. A young adult has a fight with their boyfriend while drunk. They beg him to stop. We're in public, please. Let's not do this while intoxicated. He refuses, continues to argue. It is so like what their parents did, what they lived through. Why can't people talk about things before this happens, before they blow up and hurt each other? I can't do this. I won't. So they run away from the fight, from the memories that leave them hyperventilating. They go to their car, wrap the seatbelt around their neck, desperately pulling as tight as they can. Their vision goes black around the edges. But they live. Thank goodness front seatbelts don't lock. That when they start to panic due to lack of air, that when their survival instincts kick in, there is slack to give way to, heaving breaths in the front seat. Their own strength is terrifying. They'll never look at him the same again. I am not your dad, he'll say. But in the worst way, he is. Christmas morning, your mom isn't home. She went out the night before. Midday, when she finally stumbles through the door, she says she slept on someone's couch. And by couch, you know she means bed. And by someone, you know she means a man. A young child is sitting in the dining room, listening to the adults talk. Hey, grab me another one, will you? Obediently, they do. By the time the teenager is no longer a teenager, by the time they're 21, they're tired of binge drinking all the time. How long has it been anyway, since they started? More than 5 years, less than 10. They never bothered to keep track, or maybe their memory is just that bad, so many parts of it black. There's no big party on their 21st birthday. They have to work early the next day. One drink at a small bar. One drink. That's it. Finally, it's legal. Finally, they're nearly ready to quit. I fell and hit a table. I wrestled with a tiger. No, I'm okay. I lost a fight with a tree branch. I'm lying to you. A young boy tells you he thinks your scars look cool. How he wishes he had some. No, you want to scream. No, don't admire them. Don't yearn for this. You want to cut off your arm in that moment. Grow a new, unblemished one afresh. Instead, you tell him about how the scars don't hurt anymore. But they did. They hurt a lot before they healed, please. Don't wish for this. Anger so intense, your blood fills with rage. Take deep breaths. That's not possible when you can't even see, you can't even think, you can't even breathe. Brother's using grandma's money to buy bongs again. Hey, if you're the only one with an inheritance, you gotta let me take a rip from that. A young adult is at a party. A crowded basement, hardly any room to move. A man they don't know gets their attention. A tap on the shoulder, a meeting of eyes. He pulls up his left sleeve, revealing marks that mirror their own. He grasps their elbow. They grasp his. For a moment, they are all that exists. Once upon a time, there was a person who was sad. Really sad. And thankfully, that was not the end. A 15-year-old waits until their 16th birthday to date the 23-year-old person they love. 16 is the legal age in Michigan. 16 is when their parents cannot legally stop them. Not that they think their parents care enough to try. What's 7 years when you compare it to your mom having been 18? Your dad 39. It's been a long time since you've seen him belligerently drunk. You're 25 now. Here he is, repeating the same mistakes. You call your brother to come get him. It's all you can think to do. Here you are, repeating the same patterns, waiting for him to swoop in and save you. While you wait, you heat up the canned soup that he was making before the alcohol-fueled temper tantrum took over. He refuses to eat. I'm going to get in my car and drive myself into oblivion. It's something his mom used to do back when this old man was filled with youth. He's never actually left to drive while drunk. Still, you threaten to call the cops if he steps foot in his vehicle, which says a lot coming from someone who is anti-cop. In the morning, your father cries into your shoulder. I couldn't calm down. I couldn't stop myself. You were being so kind. You made me the soup. I couldn't accept it. I'm so sorry. I don't want to do this. You know how it feels. His anger born in you. So you comfort him. He who so scarred you, you're just like him now too. Only you're sober when the anger hits, and you've been in therapy for years trying to learn how to control it. You run from this destruction, this mayhem, despite how capable you are of it. This is not a skill you want to hone. This is not how you are going to live. Get an abortion if you don't want it. Who cares if your parents have threatened to disown you? A statement that ruins a childhood friendship. Good, you say. Why would you want to be friends anyway with someone who gives a crap about what their parents think? A child watches their aunt slap their oldest son across the face. He doesn't even cry or make a sound. He's as unyielding as a brick house. Wow. How does he keep his reaction to himself? Does he feel nothing? How can I feel nothing? How can I be a brick house? There are times as a young adult where your passive suicidality turns to active suicidality. You write about how if anyone really loved you, they should understand, should let you go by way of your own hand, while at the same time you desperately cling to life. You got the crisis hotline on speed dial. Once again, you're self-harming to stay alive, drugging yourself with legal drugs to quench your thirst for your own blood. Inside of you are two of you, the one who's apathetic about life and the one who wants to kill you. A child who reads in their room all day and all night. Out of mind, out of sight. A young adult who has so many alternate personas, so many different names that sometimes they lose track of who they are, who they've really always been. As you grow older, you master the art of telling everyone just enough so they can feel like they know what's going on, so they can feel like they're helping when they can tell you're not doing well. Really, you're just sprinkling bits and pieces to different people, sprinkling tiny tidbits of information about your life, like cheese on a casserole, filled with lies. ADHD, CPTSD, ASD, FMD, BPD, MDD, OCD, ODD, PDA, through all the research you do in trying to understand what's wrong with you, you realize it's all the same. Your brain is broken. The years of trauma weigh down your synapses, a blanket of misfires. You're so tired. A young adult looks closely at their scars. A gradient of healed and faded and fresh freckles that would have been round had they appeared on untainted skin appear as single-celled organisms, a variety of shapes. Some they can tell were split in two or had parts shaved off, have become scar tissue. It is impossible to count them. The young adult has tried. Each time they relapse, they give themselves a limit. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 50. They don't keep track of how many times or when even. There is no timeline. They can't quantify how there is only an arm and a thigh and a feeling. There's only the feeling of wanting desperately to want to be alive. Stop. Intermission. Leave the curtain open. I have to take a pause, interject to say that as the narrator, I can change which scenes we allow to see the light of day. These things can exist without replaying themselves over. Revolving doors don't stop moving even when you're moving forward. It's the illusion of moving forward while you're spinning in a circle. I've been stuck in Act 1. That's over. I'm done. I'm moving on to Act 2, to Acts 3, 4, and 5. However many acts I can fit into this life, here I am, an adult. Let me reintroduce myself. I'm 29. I'm an adult who shows up for themselves, an adult who loves themselves, an adult who has forgiven themselves, an adult who has lived through it all, an adult who is still living each day, an adult who will keep living, who has set the resolve, whose own words echo in their head. Let me love you again in the way that we needed back then. Let me hold you and transform our anger into a friend. I promise. I'm here to stay this time. I refuse. I refuse to leave early. If it's always cracks and hardship, I'll still be here with my buds desperately trying to open, with my stem broken in half. I will make my own spring. I will become the sun I need. I will become the rain rushing into my roots. I'm every part of this earth, and this earth is every part of me. I'll always choose love. I'll cry my tears on my heart, watering my life. I choose me. Life has so much meaning besides being normal. I will live today. My heart is love. Things get better. Life gets better. I am strong. I am resilient. I am brave and alive. I am alive. Against all of the odds, I am alive. I will live. Won't you live with me? Won't you take all of your pain, your painful memories, the pain you've yet to see, turn it into a beacon? Not of your fragility, no. You're not fragile. When you break, you build something anew so strong it holds you. Each second you live is 1 second longer. You become larger. You become stronger. No one is more brave than the depressed person who takes a shower, than the alcoholic who chooses soda, than the person with social anxiety who goes to their best friend's wedding. No one is braver. And if you can't do these things yet, that's okay. Each day you take a small step toward victory. You're winning life, you see, just by living. Life doesn't have to be grand. Life doesn't have to be anything. It just has to be. You can just live as yourself. I can live as me. I can live without knowing what tomorrow will be, because at least I know tomorrow includes me. Tomorrow includes me. And you. And you. And you. And every you in this whole room I include. Tomorrow includes you, yearns for you, wants you to fight for it, wants you to see its plan come to fruition. Tomorrow is so important. You are so important. I say that as someone who's been fighting for tomorrow for 15 years of my life. This fight is exhausting, yes. This fight to live, this fight to survive, the ups and downs, the spirals. I know. Sometimes I feel how tired I am, down to my bones, the very marrow, begging for there to be no tomorrow, for a little relief. When that happens, I hide anything I could hurt myself with. I surround myself with people, ask for supervision. I force myself to try and eat, even if my stomach won't accept it. I text the crisis hotline, no matter how much I hate it at the time. It's okay to feel weak when you're trying to survive. I make an emergency therapy appointment. I don't listen to the voice telling me to create a living will. I don't listen to the voice telling me to write everyone I've ever loved a goodbye letter just in case I lose the fight this time, because I know I won't lose. I will say this as many times as I have to, until I believe it to be true. I'll tell myself that I refuse to give in despite all I've been through, when it's so dark in my head that the only way out is to throw away the dead flashlight, to stumble and grasp for a handhold, falling over tree roots into deep holes, digging and tunneling, the dirt doing its best to suffocate me by collapsing, folding in on itself. Still, I'll refuse. I'll emerge every time. I know I won't lose. It would be such a waste to leave when there's still another sunrise to view. There's still another tomorrow, and I don't know what tomorrow will bring. I can't promise I won't feel that darkness creeping in, or that you won't feel it too, but I can promise it will be new. Tomorrow has never happened before. Live with me. Live through tomorrow. Walk through that door every night. I'm trying. If we can both survive, let's meet on the other side. Let's keep writing the script, keep acting out life. I can't wait to see what tomorrow is like. I'm holding out hope that tomorrow will be the day I am so alive that I never again think about how I want to die. There has to come a time where that statement burns true. A lighthouse on a shore I've been rowing to. It's calling me home. There's a dock upon which I can moor my boat. Inside it's safe and warm. My chosen family sits on a couch that takes up the whole room. There is laughter. There is food. I am surrounded by love, and finally my brain will say, enough. I'm done fighting. Let's live while there's still time. I'll hug myself harder than anyone ever has. There will be a smile on my face so large it will reach into my heart to pull out my inner child so I can cradle them in my grin. That happiness is out there. I can feel it. Each day is closer, yet even the darkest days can't stop the earth from turning, can't keep the sun from rising, can't keep me from living. I wake every morning saying, here I am, world. Here I am. And here you are. Let's start our lives over from this day, right now. Let's live for tomorrow. Let's live for ourselves. Thank you.